Glory, glory, glory be to God. And of course, today I want to talk about, do you have the eyes of Lot or the eyes of Abram? Part 2. See, the other one was part 1. So, do you have the eyes of Lot or the eyes of Abram? Part 2. You see, and we read from Genesis chapter 13, from verse 10 to 18, a couple of verses there. And we saw a number of things, and I want just to look at, you see, the eyes of Lot are obsessed by what physically looks prosperous, yet they are blind to the spiritual darkness that is behind it. You see, Paul says we do not regard men after the flesh. And so the eyes of Lot, if the eyes of Lot are operating like in a church situation, the pastor or the leader can also, be affected by the eyes of Lot, because the eyes of Lot will simply see what looks good from the outside. A financier that comes to church gives a huge tithe or a huge offering, and that's it, without looking at the spiritual connotations, the spiritual implication of the offering that person is bringing. Because people can bring an offering to the altar, but what is attached to that offering is what was attached to Achan, because Achan went and bought a Babylonish garment and brought some money, but there was a spirit of destruction that was attached to what Achan was bringing. So he brought Babylonish garment, he brought Babylonish silver, and it came with defeat. It came with failure over the nation of Israel. This is the eyes of Lot. So, it's like, for example, looking at a good salary. So you get a job with a good salary, but you are oblivious to the dark spiritual foundation of that company. You're oblivious to the dark spiritual foundation of that organization. And so you do not know. The eyes of Abraham will tell you what prophetic act to take, how to honor God, how to go to Beersheba, like the man of God Isaac, or Jacob rather, on even Isaac as well, on how to subdue the voices behind that employer, behind that company that is giving you a very good salary. You see, or probably somebody that you're looking for to getting married, and then you go for a physically attractive man or lady, yet you are blind to the diabolic thing that they are carrying. Because you can see somebody that is very attractive, somebody that is well built, goes to the gym, maybe has a fat bank account, a beautiful lady that you're saying, okay, this is somebody that I want to get married to, or I want to marry, yet oblivious to the fact that this beautiful lady or this handsome man is spiritually married, is dealing with a spiritual spouse. So you step into problems because of the eyes of Lot. Now, or probably you have a chance to get quick money through perversion, through corruption, through a crooked deal, but you are blind to the darkness behind it all. So there's an opportunity that comes, a quick money getting scheme, yet you're very oblivious to the darkness that is attached to it. The Bible says in Jeremiah that he that obtaineth wealth through wicked means, you see, is like a bird that sitteth on eggs it has not hatched. He says they shall flee from him in the midst of his days, and at the end of the day, he says he shall die in the midst of his age, or in the middle of the years, and then he shall be a fool. That's what the Bible says, because that person used the eyes of Lot. You see, another example of like using the eyes of Lot. You're looking for a church, you want to join a church. So you join a church because of its beautiful infrastructure. It's a beautiful sanctuary. It's a very nice looking infrastructure, but not discerning the spirit that patronizes that altar. You see, the Bible says that you need to go to the place. He instructed Israel that do not give your sacrifices to any place that you see. He was discouraging Israel from using the eyes of Lot. He says, but unto the place where the name of the Lord dwells, not where the name of the Lord is mentioned. You can go to a place where the name of the Lord is mentioned, but the name of the Lord, the power of God is not necessarily existing there. He's not welcome there. He's not welcome. He's another spirit, of course, that is operating in that place. Or probably an opportunity that is international. So you get an international opportunity without inquiring of the Lord if it is his will, and later on you land into problems because you simply saw a global opportunity. You saw an opportunity outside the country, but you never saw the darkness behind that opportunity. You are using the eyes of Lot. So And another person probably will be talking about buying a glamorous looking car. So you see a very beautiful car at the yard without dealing with the foundational altar that it is predisposed to or dedicated to, and later landing into problems. You used the eyes of Lot. You did not use the eyes of Abraham. And also we are talking about, like, you see a very strategically located parcel or piece of land and you buy it very fast without dealing with negative voices hanging over it. You see, in the book of 1 Kings chapter 16 verse 34, and I'm going to expound on this in the later podcast, on the later program. In 1 Kings 16:34, there is a brother called Hiel the Bethelite, who in the days of King Ahab, he simply bumped into the land of Jericho, had some money, had some resources. So having capital is not a guarantee, it's not a go sign that you need to step in and invest. Having money is not the only sign that you need to step in and buy what you're looking at. Ask the Lord. Don't make a major decision because of your account balance. Make a major decision because you have prayed over it. Remember Jesus? He prayed all night, and in the morning he chose the 12 disciples. Not just because there is availability of men, then they look like they can be your business partners, your project partners. So, and you see, he got into problems because he stepped into disaster. He didn't know that there were words. There was a dark cloud hanging over Jericho simply because it looked amazing physically. Or probably, renting or buying a nice house. You see a nice house without dealing with the dark cloud that is hanging around it simply because the house looks amazing. So you simply decide to buy it. You simply you step in and rent it, and you don't step in the spiritual realm to deal with the negative cloud that is hanging over it. And so I want to encourage you that from today, abandon the eyes of Lot, their carnal eyes. They have landed many into trouble, and adopt the eyes of the Spirit. The just shall live by faith and not by sight.